Welcome back to the Deep Six Wrestling Podcast. Happy weekend, everybody. It's Sunday, May 22nd. Recording this later than planned, but just a busy weekend. I hope everybody's doing good. Remember to hit the subscribe button if you're new here. I'm Pat. I'm hosting our New Japan coverage for the Best of the Super Junior 29 tournament, which is currently ongoing. You're here for nights 3 and 4. We're going to be recapping the shows and reviewing them. Just giving our thoughts, or I don't even know why I'm saying our. It's mine. I'm the only one doing it for us. So, and go over the predictions for our group as we have been in the past. I want to thank, I believe, I don't want to get this person's name wrong. Let me pull it up real quick before I say it. But while I'm pulling this up again, remember to subscribe to the podcast. It helps us out. Be sure to comment. Let us know who has stood out to you in the Best of Super Juniors. Tell me who your favorite, or what your favorite match is, who you think has been disappointing, who you think is going to win. Whatever you want to do, comment down below. And shout out to Jay, J-A-E. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce your name. You commented on our first Best of the Super Juniors video, so just giving you a shout out. I want to thank you for that. Thank you. So be sure to subscribe to the podcast, whether you're listening on YouTube or the podcast feeds over on Spotify, Anchor, Stitcher, Google, Overcast, Apple, wherever you are. If you're on Spotify and Apple, be sure to leave a review for the podcast. You can help us with the algorithm, help us grow as we continue to try and grow over on YouTube, which we're doing decently right now. So again, but if you're listening to this and you're not subscribed, please consider doing so already as we push towards 150 subscribers. That'd be really nice. So if you want to help us out, that's a great way too. You'll get our New Japan coverage, you'll get our AEW coverage, and our Impact Wrestling coverage. So plenty of stuff, but we're just going to dive right in. Trying to stay up to date here. I apologize for the delay, but I'm trying to get these nights out to make sense. So nights 1 and 2 are together. So if you go back in the playlist, if you're listening to this in the playlist, or wherever you're listening to, if you're on YouTube for the channel, or if you're on any of the podcast streamers, go back and you can find our review for nights 1 and 2 of the Best of the Super Juniors, as well as our predictions for the entire tournament. If you want, you can listen to that. But this is going to be for nights 3 and 4. Going to break it up. If for some reason you want to just skip ahead to night 4, I'll put a timestamp down in the episode description, and you can just jump to night 4, I should say. And then we're going to take care of night 5 tomorrow morning. I have to take my cat to the vet in the morning, so I still haven't watched night 5. I haven't gotten the results spoiled, so going to drop my cat off, then come back home in the early morning, watch Best of the Super Juniors Night 5, and then get a review out for that, I guess. And then I believe on Tuesday is when we go to, whatchamacallit, we have, Tuesday is when the next night is, I think, because we've done nights 1 and 2, we're doing 3 and 4 now. And then, sorry. I've watched nights 1 through 5. I gotta watch 6. So I'm gonna watch 6 tomorrow morning, and then I'll do a review for night 5 and 6, and then we get to the second portion of the tournament where it's all block matches happening. So then I'll have reviews for each of the tournament nights just one at a time, since it's just gonna be 10 matches or whatever each night. So sorry for the confusion, but so again, nights 1 and 2 have happened. We did our prediction before that. This is 3 and 4. 5 and 6 will be out on Monday. So it might be out when you're listening to this. Anyways, let's just dive in so I stop confusing myself. So Wednesday, May 18th, we had night 3 of the tournament. And again, last time on the last podcast, I didn't go through all of the pre-match or pre-show tag matches, whatever you want to call them. Just went over the results of them. So going to do the same here. So Tiger Mask and Nakashima defeated Fujita and Oiwa in the first matchup. We had Jado, Tenzan, and Wado defeating Dick Togo, Gato, and El Phantasmo. And then we had Robbie Eagles, Titan, and Wheeler Yuta defeating Taka Michinoku, El Desperado, and Doki. Our tournament matches for this were Yo versus Clark Connors, Ace Austin versus Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Alex Zane versus Sho, Taguchi versus Ishimori, and Hiromu Takahashi versus Francesco Akira. So we're going to start at the beginning here with Clark Connors versus Yo in our opening tournament match of the night. I do want to say I really enjoyed Clark Connors and Ace Austin from the first night of the tournament. I also enjoyed Sho versus Ishimori. So heading into this, these two guys I was looking forward to seeing against each other, and I enjoyed what they did. Again, I really think Clark has shot, like, in his 2 tournament matches thus far, at least up to this point. He has really, impressed me quite a bit. It's nice seeing him back in proper New Japan, back in Japan and not just being on New Japan Strong. And I like him as a competitor. I like his intensity. I like his energy. And then you have Yo, who I did predict to win this entire tournament. We'll see if that comes to fruition. I did have him losing on his first night, which I did get correct against Ishimori. I did have Clark Connors beating him as an upset here. I was hoping that, Yo was going to get off to a rough start and then make a comeback push. That wasn't the case. He did end up beating Clark here with the direct drive, but it was a good match. I thought that these two, had a nice little chemistry here. I do hope Clark gets a win in this tournament. I don't really know who I'd have him beat. You could have him get, like, an upset maybe over Ishimori or Hiromu as, like, a big shock win, but I don't know. I hope he gets a win. I really like what I've seen from him. But Yo picked up the win here with the direct drive. I thought this was a solid little opener for the tournament matches on this night. Moving on, we have Ace Austin versus Yoshinobu Kanemaru. Kanemaru, I'll always say it, I think this guy's still very underrated. I know he's had a decently long career, but I enjoy him anytime I see him wrestle. And Ace Austin, absolutely adore this man. He is so good in Impact. He is so good in New Japan so far. Out of the outsiders or new faces in the tournament this year, Ace Austin is definitely the guy who's impressed me in his run so far the most. I just think he is a great performer all around. I think he has great charisma. His in-ring work is great. The crowds really seem to be reacting to him, which is awesome. So I'm hopeful that we get to see more of Ace Austin down the line, whether it's in Best of the Super Juniors in future years or challenging for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, whatever it is. I would like to see more of Ace. But I thought these two, again, had really solid chemistry, similarly with Ace and Clark in the first match on night 1. So I was a big fan of this. This wasn't too long, but I thought it worked perfectly fine for what they needed to do. And again, I just really, really like watching Ace Austin wrestle for whatever it's worth. And I thought he did really solid here against Kanemaru, the seasoned vet. And he got the win. He won with the fold, which means Ace is now 2-0 in the tournament. And again, up to this point, I know nights 5 and 6 have happened, and I have seen night 5, but for the sake of the tournament, he is undefeated up to this point. So again, out of these first 2 matches, if you're going to watch one of these, I would recommend Ace versus Kanemaru, but Yo versus Clark wasn't bad by any means. Alex Zane took on Sho. Man, I really don't know how to feel about Sho. I want to like him, but there's just something about the way that him and the House of Torture do their stick, and it exists. It's nothing special for me. It's just I get what they're doing. I get it's just Bullet Club shenanigans, but it's just Sho had so much promise, and everybody always talked about how Sho looked so much more promising than Yo. But it just feels like all of that momentum has kind of stopped with his heel turn, and it kind of sucks to see. I hope that one day we can get back to Sho looking like a proper future star, but currently he just like, anytime I see the guy, I'm just like, I wish he wasn't saddled with this. I thought him and Alex Zane had a fine match. I didn't think it was anything too spectacular. I think Zane, I like Alex Zane. I don't know if I would say anything he's done in this tournament has been super impressive to me. He had to sell his ass off here because they were working, Ishimori trying to injure the guy with his, I think it was left arm. This didn't really do much for me, but Alex Zane won with the taco driver, which means Alex Zane is also 2-0, and Sho is 0-2. So, what a time to be alive if you're a Sho fan. Taguchi versus Ishimori here. We had some Sendai Boys nonsense with Ishimori and Taguchi, with Taguchi trying to get it out of him. This was a match. We got to see plenty of ass from Taguchi. So if you're an ass fan, you got like full moon from him at the finish here when he got rolled up. This isn't a match I would recommend. This isn't something I'd be like, man, you should go out of your way to see this. Definitely, out of the 4 matches so far, Ace Austin and Kanemaru and Clark and Yo, you should absolutely watch. Zayn and Sho, you can probably skip. Taguchi and Ishimori, you can skip. Taguchi lost here with Ishimori going to 2-0 and Taguchi going 0-2. And that would send us to the main event for night 3, which is Hiromu Takahashi taking on Francesco Akira. I was somebody who was a bit critical of Akira's first match in the tournament. I thought he looked so much better against Hiromu, and that might just be the opponent, but he just looked way more comfortable in this match, and all of his moves felt like they made sense, whereas in his first match, I just felt like there was something about the pacing and the way he was structuring his moveset. It just didn't really work for me. I thought in this match, everything looked just much cleaner, much smoother, just felt like, again, he had a match like under his belt and like in front of this New Japan crowd, and here I thought he just looked a lot better. So I want to say Hiromu helped out with that, but it might have just been that this guy needed to get his foot in the water. Absolutely, you should go seek this match out. I thought this was really fun, really great stuff. I thought, again, Francesco looked really good even in defeat here. Hiromu won with the time bomb too, but this is a match where you can see that, like, you can see the potential in Francesco, and you can see why they have positioned him as like kind of a big deal with how they debuted him, and having him be Ospreay's like protege. So I'm excited to see the future of this guy. He's still really young, I think. I don't know his age off the top of my head. Let me look it up if I can find it. But I'm excited to see where he goes. He is only 22, so yeah, again, very young. And it's so interesting to see, like, because United Empire has TJP, and Francesco. I still don't really know if Aussie Open are supposed to be juniors, like a junior tag team or a heavyweight tag, but they got Francesco as like a junior for the future, and they got the veteran with TJP. So I'll be interested to see if they put them as a junior tag team to go after the junior tag belts, since those really feel like they need some fresh blood going for those. But yeah, I thought this was great. You should definitely go seek this out. So from night 3, just to verify, so night 3, I would recommend seeing Ace Austin and Kanemaru and Francesco versus Hiromu as like your 2 must-see matches. And then if you want to watch another one, Yo versus Clark, you can 100% skip Alex Zane and Sho, and you can 1,000% skip Taguchi and Ishimori. But so coming out of this night, we had Yo 1-1, Clark Connors 0-2, Ace Austin 2-0, Yoshinobu Kanemaru 0-2, Alex Zane 2-0, Sho 0-2, Taguchi 0-2, Ishimori 2-0, Hiromu 2-0, and Francesco Akira 1-1. And that would send us into our next night for Best of the Super Juniors, which is night 4 from B Block. And moving into night 4 for the tournament, we kicked off with our typical pre-tournament match tags. So we had Tenzan teaming with Yo, with the 2 of them defeating Taka Michinoku and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. Jado, Taguchi, Clark Connors, and Alex Zane defeating the team of Dick Togo, Gato, Sho, and Taiji Ishimori. And Tiger Mask and Ace Austin losing to Shingo Takagi, and Hiromu Takahashi. I do want to say, I don't know when or how it would happen, but I would love to see Ace Austin and Shingo wrestle. That'd be quite the time. Our tournament matches we would have. Kicking things off for B Block, we'd have Wheeler Yuta taking on Doki. Wheeler Yuta, off to an interesting start. I thought his match with Robbie Eagles was good, not great. I thought it was an interesting thing to work for both guys because they're both very exciting wrestlers. I didn't think it was the most exciting match, which, to be fair, I think may have been done since Yuta's representing the ROH Pure division in this, as well as AEW. But they worked more of a technical style match, I felt. And it was interesting to see, Yuta drop a loss immediately in the tournament. Not complaining, but, interesting nonetheless. He'd face off against Doki here. Doki, still one of the more underrated guys in New Japan, especially in the junior division. I thought these two clicked. I thought these two had a solid opening match here. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Again, I'm a huge Wheeler Yuta fan, and I'm a huge Doki fan, so seeing these two guys go at it, I was quite satisfied. Nothing too super spectacular, but just a solid match. And Wheeler Yuta would win with whatever his little thing is, the seatbelt clutch or the seatbelt, whatever it is. He picked up the win. We had Titan versus El Lindemann. And, okay, so Titan, I think he's cool. I'm hoping that he can get something going in this tournament. El Lindemann, on the other hand, I've seen the man wrestle in person before because he wrestled at the first AEW show I went to back in their Philly debut in 2019, October of 2019. That was the only time I'd ever seen the guy wrestle, aside from if he had appeared on any of the AEW shows beforehand, the Strong Hearts or whatever. And then again, hadn't seen him because Strong Hearts disappeared when the pandemic happened. Hadn't seen him wrestle since. He comes into this tournament. I am loving everything I'm seeing with this guy. I think he has such a good dive over the top rope, his plancha or whatever it is. And I like the way he looks. I like the way he wrestles. So you can, I'll say it now, I really love El Lindemann. I was happy to see him get the win here. Again, I like Titan a lot, or Titan, however. I don't know how what it's supposed to be, but I like both of them. I really like El Lindemann, though. So I'm hoping that as we get deeper into this tournament, he can have some big standout performances. And yeah, El Lindemann got the win here. And I was, again, satisfied with this. Out of these first two matches, I'd probably say Lindemann versus Titan would be the one I would recommend. But El Lindemann, love the guy. Titan seems cool. And from the first match, Wheeler Yuta, I think he's showing that he's a very technically sound guy. And Doki got to have a good little match to open the show. Robbie Eagles versus Bushi. I will live and die on the hill that I think Bushi is just such a boring wrestler. I feel like I very rarely ever care about Bushi matches. I'm just going to be honest. And this was not different. I will say I was a bit surprised that he got the win, but it is what it is, I guess. He won with the MX. Sure. I guess he needed a win. I don't get the hype. I don't even want to say there is hype. I don't really know many people that are Bushi is my favorite wrestler, or Bushi's my favorite junior division guy. He has cool masks. I'm never going to take that away from him because he does. And he's had good matches in the past. I just don't care about him as a wrestler. No offense. I'm sure the guy, he's a fine person. I just couldn't, I don't care when I watch him. I just it's nothing to me. So, him winning over Eagles, sure. It's early enough in the tournament. It's not like Bushi's going to the finals or anything. So, it's fine. That would send us to our semi-main event, which was Master Wato versus El Phantasmo. I still absolutely love El Phantasmo. I just love the charisma he has. I love the way he's the biggest douche, biggest dickhead in wrestling. Maybe not as MJF, but MJF is just heinously evil. El Phantasmo is just fucking annoying, but in a really good way. Master Wato, I will say, I thought he looked pretty solid here against El Phantasmo. This wasn't greatest match of all time, but I feel like Wato is improving. or has already, I guess, improved since, he's definitely improved since his debut. I think he looks less goofy than he did. They've toned it down a bit. He still has work to be done. I'm not sure how old he is. I am actually curious here. Do we have his birth? Okay, so he's still pretty young. He was born in 97. So still actually very young. So it's not like he's ruined or anything. I think work needs to be done with him. I do think eventually we need to drop this Master Watto gimmick and give him something else if they really want to salvage him as like a serious future competitor. But maybe they don't want that. Maybe they just, everybody can't be a main event talent. Some guys just got to be there. So Master Watto, he serves his role. But yeah, in-ring wise, I'd say he's improving. I just think there's still more work to be done, but I can sit through a Master Watto match and not be like laughing at how goofy he looks or just that he's bad. So we've made some progress. Thankfully, he did take the loss here. El Phantasmo did, in fact, beat Master Watto with the CR2. That's all that matters. Maybe in a few years, maybe like 2 years from now, we'll come back and see where Watto's at in the Best of the Super Juniors tournament. Because I'm sure he won't be a heavyweight by then. If he is, I don't even want to know what Master Watto the heavyweight looks like. But El Phantasmo, I'm still very intrigued about El Phantasmo's future. He's working a lot in Impact. I'm not saying he's leaving New Japan. He's working a lot in Impact. He's working in New Japan proper again. And he has teased of like saying he has a plan, and it's bigger than AJ, bigger than Kenny, bigger than Devitt. So again, one has to assume that he is planning a split at some point from Bullet Club, either with House of Torture or to take over Bullet Club to have a coup on Jay. Who knows? Again, because like we know House of Torture and Bullet Club. I don't think these two factions are going to stay together. I do think they are going to split at some point. It's just a matter of where people land. El Phantasmo does not really fit with House of Torture, but at the same time, if House of Torture is just evil Dick Togo, Sho, and Yujiro Takahashi, nobody's going to take it seriously. So you might want to consider, moving some pieces around. You have Phantasmo, you have Juice, you have the Good Brothers, you have Jay, you have Fale and Chase, you have Gato. Like, you have people you can move around. And Jay has said, and you have Chris Bay as well. And you had Jay mention at Wrestling Dontaku when he was leaving that he has more surprises up his sleeves and that we haven't seen anything yet. So we could, potentially see some more new faces come into Bullet Club or old faces coming back. I guess we'll see. But I'm curious to see, like, in a few years or even a few months, like, what is El Phantasmo up to? Should we expect him to move to the heavyweight division sometime soon? Is he going to go after the junior heavyweight title at some point? I don't know. But I'm excited. Again, I'm a very big El Phantasmo fan. I just think the guy is so good in the ring. He's great at what he does, at getting heat, at being entertaining while doing so. I just think he's a joy to watch as just a really annoying heel. So, and that would send us to our main event, which was El Desperado versus TJP. Everybody can have their opinion about TJP as the person. TJP is the wrestler, however. This man is so gifted. He is way too good. He's just so smooth. Everything he does looks really good. I don't know. It's just like, it sucks that he just seems to be kind of a shithead, but I can't deny the guy is so talented in the ring. He's just very, very technically sound. And Desperado, he's a goat. We all know this. I thought that these guys had really solid chemistry. I can't give TJP shit when he does good in this tournament, taking all other factors outside of this away. I just thought he did really solid here. I thought him and Desperado had a good main event. Not blow away or anything. I wouldn't say this was as good as Francesco versus Hiromu from the night before. But I enjoyed this. I will say that. I think Desperado is off to a strong start for his tournament. I also think TJP is off to a decently strong start for his tournament. So yeah. Desperado won with the Pinche Loco, which sends him to 2-0. I think Desperado is going to have a very strong run in this tournament. And I think he does have a very strong chance at winning it. I'm still holding out hope that my pick for Yo gets it. I just want something new, I guess. I don't know. It just felt like El Desperado and Hiromu have been the focal point of the junior division for the past 2 years or so. I just want something new. I understand that it seems like Hiromu wants to be like the ace of the junior division who's just kind of there. And Desperado seems pretty content here, but like both guys are so good and they could be doing so much more. And you have like if you look at the roster in this tournament, and yeah, some of them are like not regular New Japan people, but New Japan has a working relationship with Impact and AEW, like very strong ones where you can bring over some of their guys, and vice versa. You can send your talent over there as well, especially with borders opening up and everything. So it's not like they're at like a loss here. It's not like the depth of the junior division is like gone. Like you have plenty of talented people here. So I'm just hopeful that in the coming months or whatever that we get some variety with the junior division. It's not just the El Desperado Hiromu show. So yeah, coming out of night 4 here, just we have Wheeler Yuta is 1-1, Doki 1-1. Titan 0-2, El Lindemann 1-1, Robbie Eagles 1-1, Bushi 1-1, Master Wato 0-2, El Phantasmo 2-0, Desperado 2-0, and TJP 1-1. So, yeah, so that's nights 3 and 4 for the Best of the Super Juniors tournament. Like I said, trying to keep these organized to the point that it makes sense. So I did 1 and 2, so you can go back and catch our review and recap for nights 1 and 2 of the Best of the Super Juniors. You can check out our preview and prediction show for the whole thing if you want that. And then 5 and 6 have happened. I've only watched 5, so tomorrow, when I'm recording this, is still Sunday. So tomorrow, which is Monday morning, I'm going to be watching night 6, or day 6, whatever you want to call it, and then reviewing the 2 of those together. And then when we get to the double block nights, I'm just going to be doing those one at a time. So hopefully that makes sense. So remember, if you're new here, subscribe to the podcast on the podcast feeds, wherever streaming your podcasts are. Deep Six Wrestling Podcast. You can look it up, find us there. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like. Just help us with the algorithm. It helps. Every comment, every like helps. So again, comment your favorite matches of the tournament, who you like, who you don't like, what matches you're looking forward to, who you think's going to win, whatever. We want to hear it. Comment it. It'll help us out, and we'll reply to it. We'll give you our thoughts, and if you comment, we'll talk about it on the show, too. We want to give everybody's voice a platform here. So thank you for listening. Again, I know this was a bit jumbled with the beginning of me trying to figure out nights and everything, but we got through it. So thank you. And just to give an update, I guess, before I run off of here, of our points here. So coming out of nights... Oh, no, I can't, because I can give you the breakdown for the points for nights 3 and 4. I can't give you the overall because I've already added it up for night 5. But night 3, we had Rob finish in the lead with 4 matches correct. Myself and Ryan finished with 3 correct. Joey and Angelo tied with 2 correct. And the nights 4, we had myself and Ryan finish with 4 correct. Rob and Joey with 3, and Angelo with 2. So... when we get to nights 5 and 6, we'll go over the actual overalls, and then we'll be caught up, and we'll be good to go. Just fell a little behind this weekend. But thank you for bearing with me. If you enjoyed this, please share it on Twitter, share it on Reddit, share it with your friends, your family, whoever. Just share the podcast, share the video, and I'll talk to you in the next one. So thank you for listening, and I appreciate all the support.